we're back. On this episode of Survival Dispatch Academy, we're revisiting the AKASO Seemor 200 night vision goggles. The last time we looked at these 6 months ago, they blew the competition away. They're only $240, and we stacked them up against units that were 3-4 times as expensive, and they still didn't compare to these night vision goggles. However, on this episode, we're going to do things a little bit differently, and we're going to compare these $240 NVGs with a handful of ACEBEAM flashlights, which are very high quality flashlights and in the same price range as these NVGs. And just because I know somebody's going to ask us in the comments down below, this is the Motor Goat e-bike. It's a 50 mile per hour cafe racer, 50 miles an hour with someone a little smaller than me. I get about 45 miles an hour out of it. And this one over here is the Rev from Ride One Up, and it's a 40 mile an hour e-bike. I get about 37 miles per hour out of it. As you can see, they both have mag wheels. They're super stout. These are by far the two best e-bikes that we have ever reviewed, and we've tested over 50 of them over the course of the past couple years. This guy here is just an absolute beast. However, moving on to tonight's episode of Survival Dispatch Academy, we're at an abandoned golf course nearby where we live, and I'm on the tee here, and we've got about a 400-yard fairway going down this way, and we're going to mark off increments with a rangefinder shortly, and as soon as the sun sets, we'll see how the flashlights do versus these NVGs. This is the X-Geek rangefinder that we've been using to lay out distances here. Beside that is the ACEBEAM X75 80,000 lumen monster of a flashlight that's $399 on Amazon. Beside that is the ACEBEAM Terminator M1 rated 3,500 lumens and $289 on Amazon. Beside that is the ACEBEAM Terminator M2 rated 3,200 lumens and $139 on Amazon. And beside that, the ACEBEAM T35 Tactical EDC flashlight rated 1,900 lumens, only $59 on Amazon. And of course, at the end here, we have the AKASO Seemor 200 night vision goggles with built-in AI enhancement and color display at night. You can buy these NVGs for $239 at the link below. Keep in mind, they use digital rendering, which will require readers if you're short-sighted. The digital rendering will also have some latency in the picture if you're moving at a faster pace, but for stationary images, it renders very high quality images. There are links to everything shown in this video in the description below. Just as we were getting ready to shoot nighttime footage, two of Ormond Beach's finest showed up. We live in an upper middle class community, but have an unhinged neighbor who's a convicted felon and has done time for selling weapons and munitions to Mexican drug cartels. Unbeknownst to me, his dog chased my wife when she was 600 plus yards down the golf course. He proceeded to cuss at her and said he was calling the cops because we live across the street from the golf course, in the same community, I might add, and we're not allowed to be on it. Only people like him who back onto the golf course are allowed to use it, according to this asshat. Long story short, we gained 2 new followers. Both officers were great guys and very interested in the content we were shooting. Here's a little more footage shot with an iPhone 14 Pro Max that shows how good the AKASO display is, especially in the pitch black. The color night vision mode with AI enhancement is absolutely amazing. The stand of trees you see is almost 100 yards from where I was standing. As you can see, the color night vision mode is very impressive. The latency you see when moving the NVGs is common to all night vision products that use digital rendering. The AKASO actually recovers much faster than other sub $1,000 NVGs. The home that's lit up at the far right is over 600 yards away from where I was standing. Let's see how the flashlights did at 50 yards. All right, ACEBEAM T35 Tactical, ACEBEAM M1 Terminator, ACEBEAM M2 Terminator, really strong beam. ACEBEAM X75, and as you can see, it throws a lot of light. This clip was recorded with the AKASO Seemor 200 NVGs in absolute pitch black conditions. It was so dark I couldn't see my hand outstretched in front of me without a flashlight. When Cindy stopped on her e-bike, she was 125 yards from where I was recording footage with the AKASO NVGs. You'll see there's a tremendous amount of detail whether the e-bike's lights were on or off. This clip is another great example of the color night vision provided by these NVGs. We haven't seen any competitor products anywhere near the $239 price point produce any color night vision that's even remotely comparable. ACEBEAM T35 Tactical at 100 yards. Easily pick out the Florida ghillie. It's kind of like Sasquatch, just different. It's the Florida edition. Wow, this ACEBEAM M2 Terminator is really impressing me. That's incredible. As well as the ACEBEAM M1 Terminator, still at 100 yards. ACEBEAM X75, ACEBEAM X75 in turbo mode, lights up the entire fairway. It is incredible the amount of light that this thing casts. This clip was also recorded with the AKASO NVGs in pitch black conditions. When Cindy stopped on her e-bike, she was 225 yards from me this time while I was recording the footage with the AKASO NVGs. Once again, you'll see there's a tremendous amount of detail whether the e-bike's lights were on or off. ACEBEAM T35 at 200 yards. We can see downrange pretty good, but as you can tell, it probably would benefit if it was a little bit more concentrated like the Terminator series. Okay, ACEBEAM Terminator M2 Terminator. Just amazing the light that it casts. Unreal. That's at 200 yards, by the way. Jump up and down and wave your arms or something. ACEBEAM M1 at 200 yards, and that is one heck of a spotlight that it casts. Let's just give my wife a quick holler here. Jump up and down a few times so we can see you better on the recording. Okay, so that's the M2 Terminator, sorry, M1 Terminator at 200 yards, super concentrated beam of light. And up next, the ACEBEAM X75. Let's throw it into turbo mode. And there you go. Wow. Just does an amazing job of lighting up this entire abandoned golf course or hole on this golf course. And there's my wife. Actually, there's the Florida ghillie, kind of like Sasquatch, just different, at 200 yards away. This final clip shot on the golf course was also done in pitch black conditions. The first spot where Cindy stopped on her e-bike was 325 yards from where I was recording the content with the AKASO NVGs. The second spot where Cindy stopped on her e-bike was just over 400 yards from where I was. Not only does this clip show the amazing night vision quality, but it also shows how quickly the AKASO digitally rendered output recovers from latency. Again, all night vision products that use digital rendering have some latency, but as I mentioned before, the AKASO NVGs recover much faster than others, and it's really easy to see in this clip. 300 yards, ACEBEAM, T35 tactical flashlight. We can light things up quite a ways down there, but as soon as we zoom in, the picture gets really pixelated. But you could just barely make out my wife there. Up next, ACEBEAM M2 Terminator. I can see my wife fine there. Again, if I zoom in on this, it gets really pixelated, but you can see just how strong the beam is out of this flashlight. ACEBEAM M2 Terminator, kicking ass. Up next, ACEBEAM M1 Terminator. Wow, this thing is just badass. So I'm holding the M2 over my head. The camera's directly in front of me. And it is amazing how tight the beam is on this. You can put the Terminators into, regular flashlight mode, so it casts a bigger flood. But we need it down on a beam like this. We need it focused onto a sharp beam like this to see anything at any distance. And last but not least, the ACEBEAM X75 Biggin. All right, so that's on its basic mode, and there it is on the turbo mode. And again, you can see it casts an amazing amount of light. It's not as focused as the Terminator series. It's not meant to be a floodlight like them. But holy cow, does it cast a ton of light. Pretty impressive. As you can see, the performance of the AKASO NVGs is pretty amazing for a sub $250 product. We haven't seen this level of quality in anything even close to the price point of these night vision goggles. However, it is worth noting these are not a CQB tool, meaning, you could hook up a bracket here, put them on a helmet so they come down. Digitally rendered products have some latency. It's essentially tied to the refresh rate. So latency would be, okay, we turn our head really quickly like that. As you saw in the videos, when I had this on a tripod, you could see some latency as far as the picture displaying. Par for the course with digitally rendered stuff. The upside is the refresh rate is pretty high on these ones, and they do recover much faster than many other NVGs. If you want to get away from that latency that digital rendering has, you have to get into something like this, which is a PVS 14 monocular. And depending on what brand you buy, you're looking at $2,500 to $3,500. So an order of magnitude more than the $239 for the AKASO NVGs. They truly way overperform for what they are. So if you want to see what's going on around you on your property at night and you do not want to be detected, then this is a great product, a great buy. I'm telling you, we've done head-to-heads with this previously. I'll make sure there's a link to those videos below, and you'll be able to see how it just blows away the other competitor products. I want to note that these were so successful on their Kickstarter that there was some shipping delays. We had a couple of our followers email us and say, "Hey, do you know what's going on?" We reached out to AKASO ourselves on their behalf. AKASO responded super fast, got our followers fixed up. Now we're well down the road. We're 6 months down the road since the public launch of these, and they have plenty of products on hand, and there are no more shipping delays to speak of. We get sent a ton of products by companies to review, showcase on our channel, however you want to look at it. Less than 10% of them actually make it onto the channel because we don't put anything out there that doesn't live up to our expectations. Especially, we're not going to put our name on something that doesn't perform at the level we feel it should perform at. And we're pretty thankful for that because we're not in the business of hurting other people's businesses. So there have been times when something was sent to us, failed miserably. We didn't put it on the channel. We sent it back to the manufacturer. They in turn get back with us and say, "Hey, this was damaged in shipping. Let us send you a new one." They sent a new one that worked fine. So I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be the CEO of a company who actively hurts other people's businesses when it could be a shipping problem. It could be a one-off QA QC problem. So we don't publish any negative reviews. Anything that we do publish on the channel, though, it's something that we stand behind. So I've lost track of how many flashlights we've been sent over the years, and I've got the ACEBEAM ones laid out in front of me here. Their quality's second to none. They're great people to work with. You do not have to, rub your belly, pat your head, say 3 Hail Marys, push the button 3 times really fast to get the dang things to turn on. Some of the flashlights that we have been sent by companies who shall remain unnamed, it's taken 30 minutes, 45 minutes to figure out how to turn the dang thing on. There's zero instructions with regards to, oh, by the way, we put this in a lock mode when we shipped it, but we're not going to provide you with any instructions. And then you go find somebody else's video, struggle with the same thing and says, "Holy crap, took me 30 minutes to figure out how to get this dang flashlight to even turn on." So I like flashlights like the AKASOs. This is the T35 Tactical featured in this video. I push the button. That's it. That's all you should have to do with flashlights. I suppose an example might be this M2 Terminator. Holy crap, it way overperforms for its price. But other than pushing a button like that, the only other thing you have to do with this flashlight is there's a little switch on the back that changes it from a floodlight to a spotlight. Easy peasy, not hard to operate. So I pushed it once, shut off. This is the ACEBEAM M1 that's featured in this video. This thing is a freaking beast, to say the least. You may notice I just pressed the button once. It's on. Press this button to switch from floodlight to spotlight and back again. And holy crap, would you look at that? I pressed the button once and it turned off. These other flashlights that are, have all these weird combinations that you have to do, I despise them. And if you follow Jason Sawyer on our main survival dispatch channel, he'll tell you the same thing. I just want a flashlight where I push the button, it turns on, push the button, it turns off. We've done reviews on this bad boy before. This is the AKASO X75. It's rated 80,000 lumens. We've run it against some competitor products that were 100,000+ lumens. It outperformed them both as far as like the brightness is concerned, call it the candle power. But what it also did, and you saw it in this video, we ran this sucker in turbo mode for about 30 minutes and it would still run in normal mode, but you could hear the fans running. It got relatively hot over that 30-minute period. The competitors' products, who shall remain unnamed, they get so hot so fast. We did some shots down the road and we would hit it at the 100,000. It would light up for 3 to 6 seconds, then completely shut off. We couldn't get it turned back on again. We let it sit for half an hour. We come back, we turn it on. It would light up for 3 to 6 seconds, shut off, completely unusable. Whereas, the ACEBEAM X75 is usable. What I also like about it is when you unscrew this cap, there's a USB-C port here, and you can use that to charge your devices. It's got a beast of a battery on it that's great for that kind of stuff. So at the end of the day, If you're not concerned about being seen, then maybe some high quality flashlights are the right choice for you. Uh, Personally, ACEBEAM is the brand for me. You know, these are the ones that I use. I don't use any of the other ones. We test them. They go in a drawer. They don't make it on the channel. End of story. That's our shameless plug for ACEBEAM, which, by the way, they did not pay us to mention them in this video. They did not pay us to feature their flashlights. I just happen to be a big fan of their products. At the end of the day, what should you buy? If you have $400 or $500 to spend, buy the AKASO NVGs, buy one of the flashlights. Especially fond of the price point for the ACEBEAM M2 Terminator, $139 on Amazon. Pretty hard to beat for the quality of this flashlight. If you don't have enough money to buy both of them at the same time, buy the NVGs first. There's a good probability that the price of these guys is going to go up just because of the inflation that's affecting everybody these days. Even if there's no changes in the cost to manufacture, there's constant increases in shipping costs. And then, of course, that gets passed on to you. So I would jump on these guys at $239 a piece right now, save up a little bit more money, you know, buy some of the other ACEBEAM flashlights when you can afford it. But again, if you have $400 or $500 to spend right now, I would get the NVGs and a flashlight right now. As I mentioned before, there are links to everything below in the description. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe. Be safe. God bless America. ACEBEAM T35 Tactical, pitch black out here. Oh yeah. And I am maybe 10 feet away from the motor goat. Let's see what the Terminator series look like. ACEBEAM M2 Terminator with a broadcast of light versus a floodlight or spotlight of it. I'll tell you what, the M2 and M1 are really, really impressive for what they are. Let's grab the M1, see what it does. ACEBEAM M1 Terminator. It is so bright that it is washing out the picture. Let's try and cast it. Wow, look at that. Absolutely amazing. Two killer modes. So here it's casting obviously a ton of light versus a floodlight, and again it's actually washing out the picture as we're recording this video because it's so strong. So I think what I'll do with the X75 is back up a little bit further. All right, ACEBEAM X75. I'm standing approximately 15 feet away from the motor goat. Let's see if we can get this to go back into turbo mode. Seems like it's cooled off a little bit. I'm super impressed though that it ran for 30 minutes at maximum output. We have tested some other ones. No, see, it's still too hot. We've tested some other brands. They would go like maximum output, 100,000 lumens, last for 3 or 4 seconds and shut off. Kind of similar to what this is doing right now. The difference is this one has already run for at least a half hour at max output of 80,000 lumens. This here is at 50,000 lumens and is absolutely incredible. In case y'all didn't know, unlike that unsophisticated Bigfoot and Sasquatch that we have in Georgia, the Florida ghillie is much more sophisticated, especially when it comes to disco music. It's a disco inferno out here on the abandoned golf course.